And we are officially live.
Cool.
Hey, good morning. I'm Erin. I have my new mermaid coffee cup today, and Bryan Grover is here to join us. In our little pre-show, I totally butchered his name, which is not a difficult name. So, go Erin there. We're here to talk about like all kinds of crazy things, starting with Bryan's insane trajectory over the last 5 months, his um general absurdity, like all the things that are going like wild for you and taking off, and B2B and like wherever the conversation takes us. So, hi, I'm so glad you're here.
Glad to be here. Yeah, it's been quite a year. I mean, this week has been a year alone. Um,
Right.
so yeah,
Right.
it's been crazy, but I'm thrilled to be here.
Yeah, and craziness is like also, I always ask people to show up a few minutes early. And so Bryan is sitting there hanging out in the green screen room or the green room. And I'm like, I have, 15 minutes ago, I have 5 minutes before I need to be there. Let me just do this thing. And then I looked at the clock and I'm like, Bryan's there hanging out. So sorry about that.
Brian had his own technical issues to sort out, so he's got a laptop on a stack of books, and he also needs to stop talking about himself in the third person, which I'm gonna do right now.
Erin has a hard time talking about herself in the third person. So I'll bring you back to center.
There we go.
So, can we get started by talking about how amazing things have been going for you since, I don't know, January 1? Um,
Yeah. So I started off this year. We're in the copywriter think tank together, and
mhm.
started January 1, joining that mastermind group. And I was like, okay, I got a full-time in-house copywriting job. It's going great, but I know that I kind of want to work for myself. I've got 3 clients that I'm kind of working with, and things are going well there. And then 6 days later, they were like, cool. So your job's just been, poof, it's gone. Um, your job doesn't exist anymore. Um, we'd love to keep you, but it's going to be in a different sort of role. And after, careful consideration, I kind of just took the leap. And by the end of my first week, I went from 3 clients to 12 when everyone found out that I wasn't in house anymore. So, yeah, the
Which
power
is
of
a
networking.
testament to how awesome you are, like,
Oh,
incidental.
thank you.
And I remember that, like, you had just joined and you're like, "Hey, I'm thinking about, taking the plunge," and everyone's like, "You should." And then this news rolled in, you made this incredible post, and, like, I think everyone else in think tank's jaws just collectively dropped as we watched how fast it happened. So,
Y- Yeah, just the speed at which things are happening. I actually had to go on like a little mini writers retreat last week. I just got so I'm up in Chelmsford, Massachusetts. So I went all the way south of the city, which you don't usually do. If you're sane, you don't cross over from north to south. The traffic's just insane. So I actually had to just sit there for 2 days with just a notebook and a pen and just be like, okay, what's next? Because I like, it feels like I just lucked into all of this, but it's been a lot. It's been a 10-year journey to have 5 months of rapid success, kind of.
I feel like you've already built the building blocks. It's just a matter of taking that one pivotal. It's not like one post made you tens of thousands of dollars.
Right.
It's not like, and I think that's like one of the biggest fallacies I think in marketing today. I made one post and did 100,000 in sales just from one post. And it's like, no, you didn't.
Yeah. There's a
You did 10 years of putting in the hard work, or even 1 year, whatever it is, depending on what your business is, what you're doing. And then that one post was the pivotal moment when people are like, "Aha."
Yeah.
But then yeah, yeah. So I think that's really telling that you're not diving off. But yeah, so tell me about rapid success. What does that look like for you?
I mean, I went from, the last couple years of being like kind of financially strapped to just, you know, uh, paying off one thing after another, which has been extremely like liberating. Like it's
Liberating was the word I was
yeah.
thinking of, yeah.
It's been
Ooh.
something. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my financial history looks like a typical millennial, like, oh, student loan debt and this and car that just decided to die before it got paid off. So you have to buy a new one because you've got a 2 hour commute to work. Um, so that's been kind of the biggest point of success. But the thing that I've been, and like I said, this has been a 10-year journey. I've wanted to do kind of what I'm doing now for the last 10 years, ever since I decided to be a writer and make a living writing. Um, but I knew that the freedom and autonomy that comes with working for myself when I want, how I want, has been like, that's been the biggest thing I would say this year. I've been slowly edging towards that with each successive job, but like now it it's just the lifestyle that I've been searching for. That's probably worth more than the money to me.
I'm with you there, 100%. I hung my proverbial shingle 3 years ago, and that my first year was nothing like your first year has been, but, um, I can relate to a lot of that. It's like, "Oh, before we would have never been able to consider going." I'm going to Vegas for my birthday next week. Like,
Oh,
I've never been able to consider that before. That was not something that was on the table for certainly for the last 10 years, and,
yeah,
like, all of a sudden it's possible because
right.
I've created this life. So what is it that you are doing? Like, lifestyle-wise, but also business-wise? What are you what's your focus?
So that's also pivoting quickly over the last couple of months. So primarily, I would say the bulk of my clients, it's marketing, consulting, and copywriting for MarTech clients. These are companies that are helping marketers do their job easier, launch better campaigns to reach their audience in ways that aren't like just pushing content at them, but actually starting a conversation and um, helping them with their messaging, because you can't have a product that promises to do that, but then your own internal marketing is just pushing like content at them. You just have ads everywhere, and you're talking at them and not with them. So that's the primary client work, and then I'm kind of working on just um, just some side projects like a blog and launching my first podcast next month,
Ooh,
which is just going, both of those channels are just going to be ways for me to talk about my obsessive pop culture, like storytelling analysis, philosophy. It's basically going to be like having a conversation with me at any point in time.
you just pop on. Is it just you? Are you doing interview style? What's the style of the podcast?
For now, it's at least for this first season, so to speak. It's just going to be long form. The first episode is going to be on my favorite movie, which is Jaws. Um, it's going to be about all the life lessons, the artistic and creativity lessons that you can learn from the making of the movie, the process of turning a book into a movie, and then just lessons that are like inherent in the themes of the work itself. So it's going to kind of be a little bit of everything.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, I'm excited to see this. And you also have a Substack, a
I
newsletter.
do. Yes.
Yeah. What's that about?
So create dangerously is kind of the written form of the same thing. It's just, it's based on a quote by Albert Camus, which I know sounds super pretentious, but he talks about how anything that you create stands for something, and you can't just say, well, it's just art, or well, it's just a piece of copy, or it's just an ad. Everything that you write and create is a dangerous act, he said in a speech, and so that quote and that speech is extremely inspiring to me. and this Substack is kind of like a representative of, like, I want it to be representative of what I think or stand for, in kind of all things, whether that's in creativity, mindset, life, etc. It's not prescriptive in that this is what will work for you. I try to approach it more from the perspective of like, this is what has worked for me. Maybe take what you will from it, and maybe something of this will work for you.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. And I think that's also, it's like take what feels authentic to you
Mhm.
too. If I can't, I have a client who is amazing, and it's like I keep saying, I want you to get on video, and she's like, "Oh, I don't know." She's like, "It just doesn't feel right to me." Then she gets on video and she does well, but
Mhm.
I mean, just thinking like video has worked well for me, but if it doesn't feel right to you,
Right.
um, it's the first podcast we ever did. Just think, the stream of consciousness here, which is what you get with me at any given time. That's why we get along so well. We can be like, yeah, 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 and left field. By the way, here's a book recommendation.
Exactly. Yeah,
And by
I'm
the
the
way, you have the best library of books, and you can see
oh
it behind you. Like
yeah. This is just
Brian, if you're watching
a
this
little
live
bit.
or later, Brian has an amazing book recommendation for pretty much everything under the sun. Like if it's like, hey, I'm have this problem, he's like, oh, this book will help you like get some clarity on that. Just about every conversation, I think I've added 6 books to things I need to read. And you can't see this side of my office because it's not pretty right now, but there's stacks and stacks of books. It's like not as well organized as yours back there, but like yeah.
I cleaned up just for you, Erin. So
Oh,
I
did
just
you? Oh,
yeah.
I don't think that's true, but
No, I had a no, there was a culling this weekend. I had to pick which of my favorites I or not which ones needed to go because I needed to make room for new ones.
When we moved from Alaska to Wisconsin, it was the first time we'd ever moved ourselves.
Mhm.
And so I had been hoarding all of the books that I'd ever read ever, like pretty much from age 16. At that
Yeah.
point, how old was I when we moved to 35? Like, so that's like 20 years worth of books. And I'm an avid reader. And I had to get rid of most of them because we moved ourselves. If there wasn't a if there wasn't room in the trailer, it wasn't coming.
Right.
So yeah, it'd be like
Yeah,
wild.
yeah, I would say so. I moved about a year and a half ago. And it wasn't Alaska to Wisconsin, but it was far enough that we needed a moving truck. I would say that aside from furniture, most of the time was spent moving boxes of books, to the point that I told my girlfriend, "Yeah, we're hiring movers next time.
Yeah,
Please and thank you," and that's what we're gonna do.
yeah, that's well, and so we'd always had movers pretty
Yeah,
much because my husband's ex-military. So the military moved us.
right.
And I remember the first one, I was like hovering. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Where can I be? I can't sit in the
Yeah.
couch. They're gonna move the couch and all the things. And finally he got out a lawn chair and he sat me up down in it and gave me a bottle of champagne. And he's like, this is how you're going to move. You are not going to help. You are not going to direct them. And um that has set the stage for like most of the moves since then, just not this one.
I mean, that sounds like that sounds like the best moving company ever. Champagne in a lawn chair. I mean, that's a
Yeah.
new business opportunity right there.
Yeah. When you get ready to move though, I will give you tips. Like empty
I've
all of your garbage cans because I've seen people move full garbage cans.
I've moved.
Yeah.
I've I in my, like I said, millennial financial back history and all that sort of fun stuff. I've lived in a new place pretty much every year since I was 19 or 20. Like,
But you've
yeah,
moved yourself.
I've moved myself.
Yeah.
I've asked people to help me move, and that went well because it always does.
Always. It's better if there's beer and pizza involved.
I, I'm very good at bribing people, and even that didn't work.
Oh no.
So apparently I need to work on my bribery skills. Maybe I can get into
But those
government.
copy persuasion skills to work. Maybe you just need to like write a letter.
Yeah, write a sales letter selling the glory of helping someone move.
I bet
But
people would
wait,
show up.
there's more. If you RSVP now,
And can we recap all of this value?
yeah,
And
you'll get pizza, a $497 value. Just assign all of
we're
those.
on to something here.
Yeah, just yeah.
I'm gonna snort. I'm laughing. Okay, that's don't make Erin laugh today. Yeah, no, I found like moving when there's movers packing you too is a totally different experience.
Yeah.
But so when I made you fill out a form because I wanted to make sure that I was like, let's make sure that we are on the right track and Erin doesn't take us too far into left field. But you'd also talked about like working on the right things.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to know more about what those right things are and how do you even know what those right things are?
So, shameless plug, I wrote about this on my Substack because this is something that like it's not one of those things you just do it once and then look at you, you're done, you're working on the right stuff forever. The right stuff is going to change week by week, month by month, possibly even day by day. If it's changing hour by hour, you need to set better deadlines. And this is more of a message for me and
I feel attacked.
Yeah. I've been there myself, but working on the right things is important because, not to get too down. I mean, it's really dreary here in the Boston area, so like, typical Boston attitude, everything sucks, everything's terrible. Manhattan clam chowder sucks. And now that I've gotten myself off track joking, we don't have all the time in the world. We will never have all the time in the world. We won't have time to do all of the things just by the very definition of that we could do anything, and therefore we can't do everything. So kind of picking and choosing those things that you want to invest the time in, and no one can tell you what they are. But the one bit of advice that I would give on this is to just be relentless about cutting out busy work. If it's something, there's kind of a 4-step process that I've come to is if it's something that you feel like you don't want to do anymore, you either eliminate it, which is like if you can just get rid of it, then do that. There's no reason to keep doing the thing just because you've always done the thing. You can just change your mind. Delegate it. You can give it to someone else. Hire if to keep this in a business perspective, if you're a business owner and you find that you're spending too much time on your invoicing and your accounting and chasing after clients and telling clients, no, I want ACH payment. Thank you very much. Please do not send me a check because for some reason checks never arrive. Hire a VA, delegate it. If you can't delegate it, then figure out how to reduce the amount of time you spend on it. Like, can this be automated? If I pay someone on Upwork to set up a Zap for me that will do this thing every time I do that thing, maybe that's the thing. And then it's very rare that something gets to the last step, but the last step is suck it up because it means that you're just procrastinating on something that's vital enough that you can't get rid of it, give it to someone else, or make it quicker.
If it's client work that you have to do to pay the bills, you just have to do it, buckle down and get it done. Yeah.
But I mean, that potentially that could fall into the eliminated category. Is this client too much of a hassle to work with? Is this client
joy? Yeah.
Right.
And it's like that money joy matrix, I think it is.
Oh, yeah.
Like, is it worth the money? Does it bring me joy? If both are down here, or maybe it's a quadrant, both are down here, then it's not worth it. Right. If it's up here, that's ideal. But if it's like, yeah, it's enough money. It doesn't bring me joy. It's up here. Let it pay the bills. Let it
Yeah,
do the thing. And then you have an exit strategy.
exactly. And
I love that.
yeah, yeah, it's worked for me so far. And like, um, book recommendation inbound, which a lot of people have probably read, Angela Duckworth's Grit, which is just absolutely amazing. She talks about how stick-to-itiveness is it's worth more than talent. Excuse me. It's worth more than talent or anything else. Talent without action is just wasted potential. Someone, if you have someone with talent that doesn't work hard and you like put them in a face-off against someone that's maybe less naturally gifted at something, but they're willing to put in the work, the person that's willing to put in the work will win. I mean, on whatever measurement you're talking about every single time. Um, but in that book, she talks about how to develop grit. And this was something that really, really resonated with me, which is having kind of your overarching vision. And, back in 2012, 2013, my vision was I'm going to make a living writing. I had no idea what that meant. I had no idea how I was going to. No idea of anything. It was just like this is my like top level priority. And so it helped me with making decisions to keep that in mind. Okay, this job has a little bit of writing involved. Okay, I'm going to take that job. And that job was a sales support role at the Boston Globe. But I was writing, sales decks and sales collateral, and then made besties with people on the marketing team and was like, hey, do you guys have any work that you need help with? And there's no marketer in the world, whether they're at the Boston Globe or, Disney, that's going to say, no, I get everything handled. Everything's all set. There's not too much to do. So that guiding principle kind of led me to now. And now I'm making a living writing, doing client work, but I'm still kind of looking at like,
What's next?
what's next is going to be guided by making a living writing. And, I want to write fiction. I've got, a blog that I've stuck with for more than 3 posts, which is,
Ooh, that's a
yeah,
thing.
yeah, there's, let's see, uh, like 9 whole posts on there now, I think.
And I think there's something in there. Like, I'm always telling people you have to have a blog, but don't set an impossible cadence for
Yeah.
yourself. Don't set something that you can't keep up with. And I guess maybe it goes back to grit, maybe not. But if once a month is all you can do,
Yeah.
then do once a month. And if you want to write 6 posts at once because it feels good, don't just publish them like all in a week and then like abandon it for a month. Publish
Right.
them, schedule them out. But, and then it's like, do what I say, not what I do. And the only way that I have found that I can be consistent in blogging is to come up with the ideas, outline them, and then hire someone to help me write them. Because the irony is I can't write my own stuff.
Yeah, it's a
It's hard.
common block with a lot of copywriters. I mean, I've lucked out. Most of my client work has come through referrals. It's just from me, you know, helping like there's a mantra that I have that I learned from Ryan Holiday, which is be relentlessly helpful. Uh,
I
That
follow that as well. Yeah.
yeah, and it's helpful in life and in marketing. If you're if marketing, copywriting, whatever it is, if you're going into it with that mindset, you're going to do a better job. You're going to provide more value to the other person. You're not going to be thinking of holding back. Obviously, there's caveats to that rule, but like it's helpful. But circling back to the writing your own stuff, yeah, luckily, yeah, my website hasn't been updated in 4 years, and I just did a testimonial that they're going to give me a backlink for, and I'm like, oh great, now I have to update my website.
I know someone who can help you with that.
Yeah, you do.
Well, and that's it. Because it's so hard to write your own stuff, that's exactly why Womp Womp's out there. Um, because as copywriters, you know, I mean, like my own website is one of those things that I have no problem writing, ironically, or maybe not ironically, but I can't do the blog posts. Like I just, it's overwhelming to me, which again, I have this content strategy. I teach people how to do it and I have all these plans and then I sit down to write and I'm like, I don't want to do this. So, but yeah, I think it's really hard. And I think particularly as copywriters, all businesses for sure, but particularly as copywriters, we feel even more pressure to nail it. And it's more convenient sometimes to just be like, yeah, cobbler's kids, no shoes. I haven't updated mine in years, but you still find yourself apologizing for it.
Absolutely.
And I feel, then again, like yesterday, I was going through some of the offers that I have with my VA, and I was like, oh, well, that's a problem. The contact page isn't working right.
Swell. Isn't that always great?
Yes.
I went through my portfolio and found the same thing. And I was like, oh, might be time to update my portfolio too.
Might be time. By the way, Ali Goulet, are you on WordPress?
I am, yes.
Ali Goulet's plugin is awesome. Offline, I'll pop you a link to how I've used it. And you can, it's so easy. Like,
yeah,
easy.
I went as far as installing it. That actually might have been the only change I've made to my website in 4 years. At least all the stuff in there I still stick with. It doesn't promise that there's everything on there, at least I still do and can do and do know about. The statistics are probably a little outdated, but please, nobody go to bryangrover.com. And
just don't do it. Don't go to that website that he just said, that bryangrover.com. No, don't do it.
Nope. No. Do indeed go to Substack, createdangerously.substack.com though, and sign up so that I can keep on a weekly-ish cadence.
Ooh.
I need the social pressure, people.
Social pressure. I recently purchased Liz Wilcox's email. Did you meet her at IRL?
I met so many people that I'm just going to say yes, just to be safe. If not,
cool. She's fantastic. She was on my list of people that I was really excited to meet, and I was like, we're having lunch. So she is fantastic. She has an email subscription, and I think it could work really well if you're ever looking for topics or ideas to like kickstart. It's how I've been writing my emails.
Nice.
And so she gives you prompts. And then if you need some help getting started, she gives you like sort of, it's a fill in the blanks type template. So it's like this, and then you can take it and make it your own. And so I don't use hers every week as prompts, but sometimes it's like, where do I start? What do I need to do? And instead of spending like 2 or 3 hours trying to get the email just right, 45 minutes out the door, and it's fantastic, or 30 minutes. And it's some of the easiest creative processes. And sometimes I'm going back looking at past ideas. Anyway.
Yeah.
Food for thought.
Keeping a swipe file, like I can't say that enough. Whenever I do have writer's block for, it's usually client emails that I'm working on, because my emails and my email list is essentially just my blog, which it sends out the whole post in an email, which my blogging style is very similar to my email style, so it's kind of the same thing. But yeah, whenever I'm working on client stuff and need to say the same thing for the 87th time, but in a new way, I just dig through my swipe file or my inbox and say, what catches my attention right now?
Can we pull from this?
Yeah, inspiration.
Find a new angle. Yeah. I think there's something to that too. And I realize that we're over time here, so we'll wrap this up pretty quickly. But yeah, well, and I've worked with a lot of different industries, and it's really fun. It's the same idea. Like, how can I take inspiration from what this industries are doing over here and bring it into, this new B2B, like a new style of doing B2B. And it's been really fun, and it's been effective. And, sometimes past techniques that were really big 10 or 15 years ago are making a resurgence, like direct mail. And it's really fun to be like, oh, look at these results. This is amazing.
Yeah. I mean, Philip Roth has a bit of a iffy reputation, the novelist, and very angry man. But he said that, nothing bad can happen to a writer. Everything is material. And I mean, this is one of the things that has been the benefit of not just reading widely, but I love watching movies. I love watching TV, including trashy reality TV, which is my newest.
What's your favorite trashy reality TV show?
Oh, we started The Ultimatum.
Ooh, I don't know that one.
It
So my reality TV
Yeah.
like pretty much starts and ends like at Survivor because I haven't like now we watch Encanto.
Yeah, Survivor's great. But yeah, any of the dating ones are hilarious because the suspension of disbelief is like a bubble that's just waiting to pop. It's like, no, you came on this show and you didn't expect this to happen. No, please go on. Please go on.
Tell me more about how
Yeah.
your deep sordid
Yeah.
dark past.
Yeah. Oh wow. You mean you guys aren't getting along and you're on a reality TV show? Wow. Didn't see that coming. Yeah. So,
When I keep hearing about 90 Day Fiance too, that I need to.
I've heard that's really fun.
I
My
believe
sister's a
they
huge
go
fan.
from like first date to fiance in like 3 months.
Yeah.
That's like, tell me more.
That'll work. That'll work well. That went well. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. Well, thank you for coming on. Thank you for sitting down with me. Please come back soon. Again, createdangerously.substack.com. I am heading, I think I'm on your list, but I'm going to make sure that I am. Because I need to read all this. And yeah, we'll continue the conversation soon. Hang on for just a minute. I have 2 questions for you as soon as we're offline and we're smiling awkwardly according to now.